Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Let's do Radha Madhav. Jai. Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Kunja Bihari. Jai Gopijana Vallabha. Jai Giravardhari. Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana. Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyantimirdhasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtham Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadameyam Dadati Swavadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Ritam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prajna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatu Brehascha Kirpa Sindhu Bevacha Patitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Nama Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mukam Kroti Vachalam Bhangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurundin Taranam Paramanandamagam Shitaneshram Hari Om Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jai Madhuriyat Nasta Parisha Dureshu Nitam Bhagavad-Sevayā Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nestiki. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you once again for joining. And we shall continue chapter 2, the Lord in the Heart. And we were discussing last time that as soon as I can find it, right? Yeah, we talked about the beauty of the Lord, and there was like 24 forms in the Vaikuntha, different Vaikunthas. There's 24 different beautiful forms of Narayan or Vishnu, and they have different names, which we went through, and they have specific roles to play. So they're given a name according to their roles. And we also said that there's 3 stages of God realization: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, was mentioned once again in the purports. And we also said that we are in a prison house. Doesn't matter if it's class A, class B, or class C. Just like if you're on a plane or in a train, it doesn't matter which class you're sitting. It's more comfortable. The comfort is there, but you still are traveling with the rest of the passengers, going in the same direction, just a bit more comfortably than others. So just here in a prison house, you might have a nice cell, or a bigger cell, more comfortable bed, but you still don't have the freedom. You're still in a prison. You have to follow the rules and regulations of the prison house. So like that. So if we see that, we are in a prison, because we get very complacent that if you got a good comfortable life, that we are the chosen ones, we are the fortunate ones, that Krishna is looking after us, God is looking after us, even if we don't understand Krishna is Supreme Personality Godhead. And then you don't follow religion if you're really happy and everything going for you. You don't have time for religion or spirituality. So like that, but we don't realize that we are actually still in a prison. Anyway, let's continue. Verse 11. Okay, for some reason it's disappeared. Let's get it back. To 11. Okay, so I'm just going to share this. Okay, I hope everybody can see it.
Yeah, it is.
So Vibhushitam Makhalayan Glu Yakher Mahadane Nupar Kankanadabihi Sanigda Mala Kunchita Nil Kuntale Viroch Mananana Has Peshalam. So Vibhushitam, well decorated. So we're describing the form of the Lord in the forearm form. Vibhushitam, well decorated. Mekhalya, with an ornamental wreath about the waist. Anguli ya kahi, by finger rings. Mahadane, all highly valuable. Nupur, ringing leglets. Kankan Adibihi, also by bangles. Snigdha, slick. Amal, spotless. Akunchita, curling. Neel, bluish. Kuntalihi, hair. Virocha, man, very pleasing. Anand, face. Has, smile. Peshalam, beautiful. He is well decorated with an ornamental wreath about his waist, and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers. His leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face are all very pleasing. The Supreme Personality Godhead is the most beautiful person amongst all others. And Srila Shukadeva Goswami describes every part of his transcendental beauty one after another, in order to teach the impersonalist that the personality of Godhead is not an imagination by the devotee for facility of worship, but is a Supreme Person in fact and figure. The impersonal feature of the Absolute Truth is but his radiation, and the sun rays are but radiations from the sun. So that's comparison there. So the Lord is described as the most beautiful. Obviously has to be most beautiful, because he's the most, everything emanates from him. So we see beautiful people, that beauty is just a carbon copy of the Lord, and carbon copy is never good as the original, right? So he is the original personality Godhead, and whatever opulence he has, other people can have, and even then to a very minute amount. This is the difference, that they can never be unlimited in any way, shape or form, in opulence or anything else compared to Krishna. So he has to be the most beautiful, the most richest, the most famous, most strong, everything like that. So this comparison here, Srila Prabhupada explains that impersonalists focus on Brahman feature, as we know. Yogis focus on the Paramatma. Devotees focus on the most beautiful person in the form of the arch vigraha in the temple. So, what's the difference between these? The Brahman feature has no qualities attached to it, no material or spiritual energies. Yet people want to worship God without these energies. There is no variegatedness. This feature has no compassion or pastimes or in any kind of leela. It's just sat, just eternal, right? And then that's Brahman. Then the next stage is the Paramatma form. Paramatma feature has material energies, but not spiritual energies. He is the master of material energy. He controls material energy. So this Paramatma form is, when the creation is there, material creation is created, and then the Lord expands himself into the material world, right? For some, to look after the material world, and to look after the energy, the entities. So it has some material duties, because that's when these forms come into being, into expansion, from Mahavishnu to Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and then the Lord in the heart, Paramatma. So the form of Bhagwan has material and spiritual qualities. He controls both energies. He has compassion and pastimes. He is Satchit and Ananda. So the Lord has all these qualities. Has full qualities, Satchit and Ananda. Whereas the others may have Sat and Chit, but not Sat, Chit, and Anand, because that only leelas and pastimes and bliss is with Krishna himself. And then it's also mentioned that the form of the Lord can be created in 8 material ingredients. So this is the Archa Vigraha, can be created in 8 material ingredients, which are glass, wood, like our Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, metal, like brass that is, sand, melamine, marble, stone, and paintings, of course, pictures. So that's how we can see the form of the Lord in with different materials. The end of the day, all these materials are his energy. All these materials are his material energy. The Virat Roop is for those who want to see God as material nature. So we talk about Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan, also the Virat Roop, for people who just want to concentrate on everything is material or material nature. So that's the difference between different aspects of the Lord. Adin Leela Hasti Keshana Losad. Try again. Adin Leela Hasti Keshana Lasad Bru Bhang Samchuchita Bhuri Anugraham Akshit Chintamayam Enam Ishwaram Yavan Mano Dharanyavatiste. So Adin, very magnanimous. Leela, pastime. Hasit, smiling. Ikshana, by glancing over. Ulasat, glowing. Bhrubhang, signals of the eyebrow. Samsuchit, indicated. Bhuri, extensive. Anugraham, benediction. Ikshat, one must concentrate on. Chintamayam, transcendental. Enam, this particular. Ishwaram, the Supreme Lord. Yavat, as long as. Manha, the mind. Dharanya, by meditation. Avitishtate, can be fixed. So the Lord's magnanimous pastimes and the glowing glances of his smiling face are all indications of his extensive benedictions. One must therefore concentrate on this transcendental form of the Lord as long as the mind can be fixed on him by meditation. So in Bhagavad-Gita 12.5, it is said that the impersonalist undergoes a series of difficult programs on account of his impersonal meditation. But the devotee, due to the Lord's personal service, progresses very easily. Because you have a direct link with the Lord and you're serving him directly. Impersonal meditation is therefore a source of suffering for the impersonalist. You don't even know who are you doing this for. You never seen. Here the devotee has an advantage over the impersonalist philosopher. The impersonalist is doubtful about the personal features of the Lord. Doesn't know what the Lord looks like. And therefore he always tries to meditate upon something which is not objective. So objective, if it's not objective, then it's subjective, which means it's just imaginary or his own concoction. For this reason, there is an authentic statement in the Bhagavatam regarding the positive concentration of the mind on the factual form of the Lord. The process of meditation recommended here is Bhakti Yoga, or the process of devotional service after one is liberated from the material conditions. Gyan Yoga is a process of liberation from the material conditions. After one is liberated from the conditions of material existence, when one is nivrit, as previously stated herein, or when one is freed from all material necessities, one becomes qualified to discharge the process of Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga includes Gyan Yoga. In other words, the process of pure devotional service simultaneously serves the purpose of Gyan Yoga, because liberation from material condition is automatically achieved by the gradual development of pure devotional service. So as we serve the Lord, we start becoming detached from material desires, material conditions. These effects of Bhakti Yoga are called Anartha Nivritti, which most of us are in that state, trying to get rid of unwanted desires, unwanted things. Things which are artificially acquired gradually disappear along with the progress of Bhakti Yoga. Why? Because we have acquired a higher taste, the lower taste starts to disappear. It's no longer has any value to us. Meditation on the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, the first processional step, must show its effect by anartha nivritti. The grossest type of anartha which binds the conditioned soul is material existence, is sex desire. And this sex desire gradually develops in the union of the male and female. When the male and female are united, the sex desire is further aggravated by the accumulation of buildings, children, friends, relatives, and wealth. So basically he's talking about marriage life. When you're married, you want a house, you want children, and then you want friends to come to your house, relatives to come to your house, and you want opulence, you want money, so you can have the best of everything. So when all these are acquired, the conditioned soul becomes overwhelmed by such entanglements and the false sense of egoism, or the sense of myself and mine, becomes prominent, and the sex desire expands to various political, social, altruistic, philanthropic, and many other unwanted engagements, resembling the form of the sea waves, which becomes very prominent at one time and at the next moment vanishes as quickly as a cloud in the sky. The conditioned soul is encircled by such products as well as products of sex desire, and therefore bhakti yoga leads to gradual evaporation of the sex desire. So, get into the root of the problem, which is summarized in 3 headings, namely profit, adoration, and distinction. All conditioned souls are mad after these different forms of sex desire. So, it's basically lust, isn't it? It's all lust. Whether it's sex desire or profit, adoration, and distinction, it's all lust. we hanker for these things. As a person feels his hunger satisfied after eating each morsel of foodstuff, he must similarly be able to see the degree to which he has been freed from sex desire. The sex desires diminish along with its various forms by the process of bhakti yoga, because bhakti yoga automatically, by the grace of the Lord, effectively results in knowledge and renunciation, even if the devotee is not materially very well educated. And this is, many people, when they read this, they are afraid to go into Krishna consciousness or hear about this, thinking that we're going to lose everything, all our desires and all our wealth and all our feelings for each other. We're going to lose it all, so they don't want to come in this direction. And then, anyway, so as a person feels, so knowledge, where are we? Which formed by bhakti yoga, by the grace of the Lord, effectively results in knowledge and renunciation. Even if the devotee is not materially very well educated, knowledge means knowing things as they are. And if by deliberation it is found that there are things which are at all unnecessary, naturally the person who has acquired knowledge leaves aside such unwanted things. When the conditioned soul finds by culture of knowledge that material necessities are unwanted things, he becomes detached from such unwanted things. This stage of knowledge is called viragya, or detachment from unwanted things. We have previously discussed that the transcendentalist is required to be self-sufficient and should not beg from the rich blind persons to fulfill the bare necessities of life. Shukadeva Swami has suggested some alternatives for the bare necessities of life, namely the problem of eating, sleeping, and shelter, but he has not suggested any alternative for sex satisfaction. One who has the sex desire still within him should not at all try to accept the renounced order of life, so especially the renounced order of life. For one who has not attained to this stage, there is no question of a renounced order of life. So, as we have talked about before, some people think that I'll just give up everything and I'll be okay, I can do this. But they find that their mind and their desires, they go with them. They can go to Vrindavan, but their mind and desires go with them, and they cannot really give it up. They might want to give it up, but the attraction is so strong, or there's encouragement from the other side, that they fall victim to these desires. And Bilva Mangal Thakur is an example that he left everything after the prostitute, gave him good knowledge, but then he found that he was still struggling with his desires, and he poked out his eyes. And that, I'm not recommending that we do that, but he felt so strong that he realized that his desires won't leave him alone. But we know from reading this that devotion service will eventually get rid of those unwanted things in the heart, the weakness of the heart. So it's all about serving in the 9 types of service. So we have to here we have to chant and we have to remember Krishna. We have to be the servant, do deity service. Say by doing deity service, lust, sex is reduced. So deity service is very important as well. So we do all these services and surrender to Krishna. Then eventually, with time, and sex desire, from what I've heard, like classes from even Srila Prabhupada's disciples, they say that that's like the last thing to go. So there is hope, and it's not easy. So if they found it difficult, then who are we to suggest otherwise? But there is there is light through the tunnel, that it is possible with time. Things, you can get rid of all these desires. So when one who has a sex desire still with him should not be told, sorry, we've done that. Okay, so go on to the next paragraph. So purification means getting free gradually from sex desire, and this is attained by meditation on the person of the Lord as described herein, beginning from the feet. One should not try to go upwards artificially without saying for himself how much he has been released from the sex desire. The smiling face of the Lord is the 10th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and there are many upstarts who at once try to begin with the 10th canto, and especially with the 5 chapters which delineate the Rasa Leela of the Lord. This is certainly improper. By such improper study or hearing of Bhagavatam, the material opportunists have played havoc by indulgence in sex life in the name of Bhagavatam. So the misunderstanding the whole thing, because they're going straight onto it instead of building from the feet upwards. So we have to start Bhagavatam from Canto 1 and first learn that what the spirituality is all about, what the Lord is all about, what his pastimes are all about. This vilification of Bhagavatam is rendered by the acts of the so-called devotees. One should be free from all kinds of sex desire before he tries to make a show of recital Bhagavatam. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur clearly defines the import of purification as cessation from sex indulgence. He says, Yatha dishcha shudhyati vishya lampatyam tyajati tatha daryat iti chit shuddhi taratmyanaiva dhyan taratamyam uktam. And as one gets free from the intoxication of sex indulgence by purification of intelligence, one should step forward for the next meditation, or in other words, the progress of meditation on the different limbs or transcendental body of the Lord should be enhanced in proportion to the progress of purification of the heart. The conclusion is that those who are still entrapped by sex indulgence should never progress to meditation above the feet of the Lord. Therefore, recital of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by them should be restricted to the first and second cantos. So we are at the moment on the feet of the Lord of the great literature. One must complete the purificatory process by assimilating the contents of the first 9 cantos. Then one should be admitted into the realm of 10th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So this is very interesting, that we have to understand the 9 cantos and process them in our life before we should be even attempting to read 10th canto. Very interesting. So this is sorry. Okay. 12. So focusing on the heartbeat, on the breathing, instead of focusing on the Supreme Personality Godhead and His features. If you focus on nothing, you get nothing. When you extend your meditation to the Supreme Lord, He extends His meditation to you. We need to hear about the Supreme Lord so that we can speak about Him and remember Him. So our focus should be on the Lord you can hear about him. So Krishna is absolute. Just hearing about is also Krishna. So the meditative devotee, Krishna consciousness can uproot sex desire. It's nothing but perverted form of love for Krishna. So love and lust, so yogurt and milk. So this lust, hankering for material things, beginning with sex desire, is just a perverted version of our love for Krishna. So we have this attraction, we have this natural attraction for the Lord, but because of the material energy has made it perverted into sex desire and desire for other material things, because we are contaminated with material energy, and now it's become material desires. Simple as that. We should be conscious where our lust lies. Exploitation of the opposite gender, exploitation of others' resources, hankering for profit, adoration and distinction. So this is, what do we want? We want Krishna, or we want all these other things? Because if we do, then that means we have material energy still within us that's controlling us. Sex desire has multifacets, gross and subtle. By devotion service, one becomes purified. Gross sex desire should have overcome before taking the renounced order of life. So, which we discussed. So it's like Goswami, the Swami, Goswami. So they have control over their indriya, over their senses. But you might say, well, the Swamis or the Goswamis have been known to fall down as well. So you can't say like, okay, they become sannyas, they've taken sannyas and they're qualified to take sannyas, they've taken sannyas, and well, everything's fine. And I think this is what's happened in the past, that people have thought, well, this is a sannyasi, this is not a problem, we don't have to fear him in any way or form, and then things have gone wrong, isn't it? So they were qualified to become sannyasis, and they became sannyasi, yet material energy does not let you go. Even if you're a sannyasi or a grasta or a brahmachari, doesn't matter. Material energy still has to do his job, right? Material energy is always looking for a chance to attack you, right? So we have to use our intelligence. We have to protect ourselves, our children, and we also have to protect the renounced order of life. We have to protect them as well. So it's very important that we don't allow a situation to build where the protection is lost by them, or by the renounced order or by the gresta order. So that's our duty as well. We have to protect them. A lot of sannyasis will protect themselves as well. They don't want to go to a house where there's families and children, and that they want to remain completely protected from all these things. They don't even want that thought to come into their mind. They won't even eat food cooked by somebody, unless like a Brahmin or somebody like that. Or they rather prefer to eat from the hands of their own disciple, because they don't want any bad consciousness coming into them by taking something like that, which is mentioned again and again in the scriptures, that cooking, especially, you are eating the consciousness of you're taking the consciousness of the cook. So they're very careful. So they protect themselves. We also have to protect them as well. When we are interacting, we have to protect the renounced order. That's our duty. Grestas, we not only support the renounced order and the brahmachari order, we have to protect them as well. In Srila Prabhupada's time, the brahmacharis wanted to go and preach or do kirtan outside girls' hostel, and Prabhupada refused. He said, no, I don't think so. Do not go straight. Now you're looking for trouble, if you are exposing your your senses to these things. We're only human end of the day. So he didn't allow that they should do anything like that. So yeah, must be careful who we associate with, how we associate with them, and what we do. Very, very important protection. We have to protect ourselves and others as well. Okay, let's see. Okay, should we do 13 quickly?
No, leave it.
Yeah,
It's hot.
leave it. Okay, so I don't have permission, so I have to stop. Okay, so we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Yeah, very interesting topic, and it's reality. End of the day, so we have to face reality, and we cannot just shove it under the carpet. These things happen. Sex desire is very strong, and nobody's immune to it. It doesn't matter what level you reach, even the rest, the level of bhav, you can be bewildered. So yeah, so we have to face the reality. It's not a topic people want to discuss, but it's there and it has to be addressed. Okay, so Pundikaksh Prabhu, please give your views. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Namaste. Again, these verses have so much of information given by Srila Prabhupada. There are two paths. One is Pravritti Marg and Nivritti Marg. So Pravritti is having sense gratification, whereas Nivritti is performing the devotional service. And Prabhupada nicely mentioned that Bhakti Yoga is how the Bhakti Yoga is best when compared to any other yogic methods. So other methods can help you in controlling your mind and senses, but ultimately it will not help you to get liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Only when a person understand and perform transcendental loving service to the Lord, and Bhakti Yoga, as Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, Bhaktyamam Avijanati, only through Bhakti you can understand Krishna. And when the consciousness is pure and understand Krishna, that is where one can enter into the kingdom of God. So Bhakti Marg is the only best. Very simple also, as again explained by Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita, again Patram Pusham Palandoyam is easy, Susukam Kartum Abhyayam. And Lord performed so many pastimes. The pastimes are magnanimous, and again it will help you to get the jnana and also anadha nivritti, as mentioned in the purport. Because when you read the pastimes of Krishna, definitely, especially by the purports of Srila Prabhupada, we can understand our own defects. Like when I started reading first time Krishna book, when I read Kamsa pastime, I feel not much difference in me and Kamsa. Basically, I thought I am also the same like Kamsa only, who is changing the mind in fraction of seconds. So when you read the past tense of Krishna, it highlights so many things, and it will help us to clear our own anardhas. And again, Kama, Krodha, Moha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya. So Kama is the entry of any other gate to the hell. So if the Kama is satisfied, then it becomes greed. If not satisfied, it becomes anger and delusion, and we fall into this cycle of birth and death again. But Bhakti Yoga, because you are not getting detached from anything by force, you are getting attached to Krishna rather than trying to get detached from the other lower things. It is the easy process to follow, and Krishna is purely personal. He's just a form. So as people say, Nirakari means he does not have akar. The Prabhupada explained that he has akar, which we cannot see with these eyes, material eyes. So I can remember only like Jagannath Baldev Subhadra pastime, where the Brahman was asked to, like Vishwakarma was asked to draw the image of, by the king, he was asked to draw the image of Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. And he said, okay, I'll sit in this room, I'll draw the image, nobody should come inside. And he drew the image. So how he could draw the image without seeing the personal form? He was fortunate to see the personal form of Lord Jagannath Baldev Subhadra in front of him, and he was able to draw the image of the deities, how they look like. That's all, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, you mentioned about devotional service, Susukam. Yeah, that's the difference with the devotional service. compared to the other methods, is happily performed, and it destroys the seeds of sin or desire, material desires. This is the difference. Whereas the other methods, just like Vishwamitra, we just compressing our senses, but the desires are still inside to commit those things. But whereas with devotional service, even the desires, not only the actions, but even the desires of future, any future opportunity to commit is destroyed as well. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Yes, fabulous verses. Just goes to show Krishna is eternal. 24 forms, and of course, around the world, people have a different name for him, which is great because for them, that is what's relevant. And for them, and for each one of us, is a journey from having the Brahman form to the Paramatma form to the Bhagwan form. It's not easy to get to the Bhagwan form because to get a visa to Vaikuntha, you will have to go to the Home Office, and the Home Office will reject your application time and time again because you haven't provided the evidence to get past Canto 1 and Canto 2. Because they'll say to you, no. Why should we let you in? You haven't got the evidence to show that you have been able to deal with the aspects of entanglement with the material world, namely profit, gain, fame, lust, and lust for sex. And once we can overcome those anarthas, then maybe you can go beyond Canto 2 in the purest way. And then maybe even Krishna will grant you the visa to go to Vaikuntha. To realize Krishna in his purest way and to see him in Canto 10, then we must have those eyes, that vision, and that mindset, which is free of sense desires and lust. And it is that this few verses are telling us that we have to start from the feet, surrender. So then you can work your way up to the smile and the eyes. But we think we are so elevated that we are so ready to be embraced by Krishna. We are still at that very primordial, infantile, embryonic, early stages on that journey. And so a lot of effort, a lot of dedication, a lot of devotion, a lot of sangha, a lot of commitment to the devotees and surrender must occur before we get that visa to go to the high levels. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thanks so much, Prabhu. Yeah, so Canto 1 to 9 is all about consciousness, now how we perceive things. One man's junk is another man's treasure, as the saying goes. So the same thing can seem like one thing to one person and different to another person. It's all about the consciousness of that person. So the idea is that from Canto 1 to 9, we develop our consciousness, we purify our consciousness. So when we get to Canto 10, we are seeing from a purified consciousness, not from like somebody who just jumps into Canto 10 and reads about it and think, wow, this is good, from their own point of view. But yeah, it's all about how you perceive it, which level of consciousness you are looking at it. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. Vijay Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Hare Krishna, everyone. Yes, I realized from these readings some points, and one point was that bhakti automatically contains Jnana Yoga and others, which I tended to think of them as each one in a different container, but actually Bhakti contains them all, like everything else. But Bhakti seems to take care of everything. Once you're in doing Bhakti, then everything else is taken care of. But one of the things is meditation. It's an important item, and our meditation needs to be on Lord Krishna. But therefore, when we reach Canto 10, we're dedicating ourselves on learning about Krishna. But as we know, we're supposed to read up to Canto 9 first. But now today, I'm wondering whether we should be staying on Canto 1 and 2 only until we reach a fairly high level from where we are before we can go further. It's a little bit doubt in your mind whether you should go any further, but we all do read further, and I think most of us try and stick to the not to read Canto 10 until we've done the other 9, but not to read past Canto 1 and 2. I don't know if that's done in with most devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. I mean, the thing is, Srila Prabhupada has written Krishna book, which is Canto 10. So he wanted everybody to know about it, about the pastimes of Lord Krishna, like that. But it's just a warning that, look, don't just jump into it. Because people who jump into it, they're looking for something else, right? Not what they should be looking for. That's the point, really. That it's all spiritual, and if you don't understand it, then don't look at it in a subjective way. Try to understand what Canto 10 means before you go in. But I think as devotees, people who've been following for so many years, I think we got the idea, right? And I would think that we are purified, and Narthanivit is a very long process, and I would think that at least we are purified to a certain level that we can appreciate Krishna, we can appreciate his pastimes, we can understand difference between Krishna and us. So this is the problem, because people who jump straight into Canto 10 and they're not following Krishna consciousness, they compare everything to how they think, the human way of doing things. But we understand that Krishna is Bhagwan, and we are minute particles, and we cannot compare our methods, our thinking to Krishna's thinking. His thinking is different to us, and I think when we have been in Krishna consciousness, you start appreciating the difference between Krishna and us. That's the important thing. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada wouldn't have written Krishna book, which is Canto 10. So just a warning, really, for people. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Mataji, Hare Krishna. Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Yeah, it's very well Krishna's so beautifully described in verse 11, and it's saying like, oh, Krishna is the ornaments, curly hair, and all his bangles and everything. It's like visualize the picture of Krishna, when you're reading all that. So it's coming in your mind, like how the Krishna's beautifully like wearing everything and ornaments, and so well explained. And you can visualize on that picture of Krishna. And another thing is like a material desires, like it's very difficult to give up. Like so many desires you have, you're trying to give up, but slowly, when you are being sent to Krishna, and you're trying to slowly, you give up your desires, and visualize like doing the devotional service. And with the 9 devotional service, like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padsevanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam, it's like then you going on that stage where you can visualize all this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. And I also say that with regard to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we're supposed to like read it at least 10 times. I mean, I might say 100, but not people read it 100 times, at least 10 times. So we just, as we keep going through it again, and then once you finish it, you go through it again, like that. So you get more and more purified. So it's safe to read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam all the way through. Read it first time, the second time, but just remembering Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead. Hare Krishna. Okay, Ajay Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's always important to pick up on these interesting details because they do help us understand that even if we are, how are we progressing? As I explained in the verse that you realize in terms of enlightened liberties, where are we going in the right direction? And then there's that element of growth and subtle influences. That is always an issue because growth is at least we can tell if we are actually progressing in terms of, for example, you're following regulations, that sort of thing. That helps. But then these subtle impressions are are a bit trickier because, especially in this day and age, if you say watch a video, there's so much advertisements and everything, and all these things leave an impression and you don't even realize it. That's why I thought it's important that we do take to the process earnestly, and we actually try to understand that what the stuff is it's not about just the outward things, the inward thing as well. It's just you try to figure out. You can't lie to yourself, in other words, really. Things will have an influence on you. You just have to have yes, you have to be more reliant on Krishna in that sense. Your first thought shouldn't be, oh, how can it's like to talk about sex desires more than just sex. It's like in terms of like profit and adoration. That's like that conditioning. You have to try and get beyond that, thinking of myself, you think of Krishna, and you have to think of what would please him. If that's your first chain of thought, then you are, at least you're on the right track, even if things aren't always work out the way you want it to. You're at least going with the right mentality, and that's where obviously Krishna Guru will actually appreciate that as you are trying, and then you will also be given inspiration how to actually get around it as well. Now, you mentioned the sannyasis. There's not a case of when you take sannyas, you become a paramahamsa, the topmost sannyas level. You have to work your way up there, and that's why sannyasis unfortunately have struggled with it because they have been taken to the process. They've been elevated before they're ready, really. Unfortunately, because especially during Prabhupada's time, there wasn't the chance for them to get the training they needed. Prabhupada's obviously time in this world was limited, so they had to be promoted before they're ready. And that's one thing we can have in this time that we can take. If we are not ready, then okay, we then get more training as such, trying to actually understand where we're going wrong. And that's why so while on the one hand the intensity might not be there from Prabhupada's time sometimes, but there is that chance to actually solidify your bhakti a bit more, actually understand what it is that's bothering me, where am I going wrong, that anartha nivriti, actually locate it rather than ignore it. And if we can do that, then that is very helpful because that means we are actually trying to move to nishtha, which is trying to get ourselves steady in our bhakti. And that if you can get to that level, that's very good because then you're on the track to really, really advancing your bhakti. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to that point where we are steady in our bhakti that we can, then it becomes easier then because we're not fighting against our own whatever influences that we have to deal with. We're actually going out of our way to serve Krishna. We're asking, really actually pushing Krishna, please give me something to do. I want to serve you. We have to get to that level, and it's very much possible. We've seen that with many devotees. And if you are there already, then great, and just keep going because you can do a lot. Especially if you're pleasing Krishna. Krishna's he's giving you, empowering you. Then you'll be amazed to what you can accomplish because you're linking with Krishna, and then there's no such thing as impossible anymore. Very well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, now you. I think we should do inventory of our issues and see, if we can do something, or and the bits we can't do anything, pray to Krishna for guidance and help. So Krishna appreciates that if we try to genuinely improve yourself, and we all have our issues, so it's that way. Yeah, definitely do. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, I was thinking that Prabhupada wrote Krishna book because as he was doing the canto by canto translations and purports, it must have occurred to him that he doesn't know how long he has got. So he made sure that Krishna book, Canto 10, in a abridged form, a Krishna book is written. Because Krishna book is everything. Krishna book is the Gun, Roop, Leela, Naam, everything is in there. And so there comes the compassion of the highly elevated soul for me in this world. That he was mindful that he has to leave this Leela at one point. So he made sure that Krishna, Canto 10 was presented in Krishna book form for everyone. So this is it. We have so much compassion for others. Sometimes we think that, oh, I've got so much compassion for this jiva, that jiva. But very important point, in material circles they say as well, that have self-compassion as well. Sometimes, the person who is giving compassion to others, they forget themselves. And you can only give that much to others how much you have. So you have to replenish yourselves. That's why these sadhus, these sannyasis, and everyone else also, they go into hiding for some time. Why? Because sometimes you think you're reading, listening, this, that, but if you're not able to apply or contemplate on it, and then if you're not able to assess yourselves and you're not able to nourish yourselves, then how are you going to give that to others? So very important point I've picked up from these verses. And another important point, apart from the beauty of Lord, if the Lord is so beautiful, so you can just imagine how much beautiful feelings, or how much beauty is not in the word at the moment. I don't know what I should say. What kind of feelings, transcendental feelings you will get when you get into the real devotional service. Ahetuki and apratihata, unmotivated and unalloyed. So we are all trying for that. Like it's been said that we are all on anartha nivriti stage. We get frustrated because we don't and sometimes forget that it's not the anarthas of this lifetime, or how more anarthas we are accumulating day by day, moment by moment, but we also have the inventory of unlimited lifetimes we've had in the past. That is also to be negated. It has to be dealt with. It has to be purified, and it's going to take long time. So restlessness and complaining should go completely in the devotional service, because we don't know how long it's going to take. But like Prabhupada always said to his disciples, that Shuddha Bhakti can come with a click of finger. So we don't know which of our acts in devotional service, in the best of the best, how Krishna desires us to be. It doesn't have to be very opulent. The simple of the simplest Krishna prefers. So one of those acts is going to please Krishna, and we might be feeling hopeless in our endeavors, but this is what it is, bhakti, isn't it? This is what our sampradaya is all about, bhakti in separation. So until that those high feelings are coming into our bhakti, those pure ones, that is which is desired, until we get a spiritual body in the spiritual sky, and then we'll get trained by a gopi up there for the entry into the Golok Vrindavan. Until then, we have to focus on the meditation of the feet of the Lord. The first and the second canto, like it said, they are the feet of the Lord. So until we have reached anywhere, because when we look inside, we might be looking very good and nice devotees to others, but as a person, when we look inside, we know where we are. So I've understood that from these verses that until then we have to meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna, and when that purification will come, we will know, and then bhakti will become so easy, like we see the great acharyas and some living and many living gurus amongst us as well, young and old, how they are going about in their bhakti. And I also like this point very much, especially for the women, that they should protect themselves and they should protect the sannyasis. They shouldn't get too up and close. Women, they just lose themselves when they see a sannyasi, and it is very unfortunate that they don't realize that they are a different gender. They are not men. So they shouldn't get, because they start competing in their showing of the devotion to the law, to the sannyasis, to the gurus. They get too up and close. They try to touch them. They shouldn't. They should protect them. They should protect themselves, because you have to be not too much emotional. Especially the ladies, they have this quality that we tend to get swayed very easily. But when I heard this first time, it really struck with me few years back on one of the sannyasis visit, that please protect yourself and protect the sannyasi as well, because they are on a very high path. Their elevation is much higher than us. If we'll help them towards their journey by controlling ourselves, by following all the decorum of the bhakti, then if they reach that Paramahamsa stage, they're going to pray for us as well, and they're going to give something to us because we have served them in some manner somewhere. So they're very small points, but the important thing is to remember the right points at the right time. So that is why meditation at the feet of Krishna is so important. So we pray to Krishna, we try to meditate on these points, that please Krishna, keep our anarthas disappeared which have gone, don't let them reappear in our bhakti life as we progress towards you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And Pundika Prabhu said that Prabhupada's explanation on other verse, anger can go away as soon as we shout at somebody, but greed and lust desire very hard unless one is determined to get rid of them. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so thank you all so much, and catch up again on Monday. Continue praying at the feet of the Lord as recommended by Srila Prabhupada. So we'll see you then.
Grantha Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Have a
Hare
nice
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.